Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Dr. Molly Fry Hour. I am Jamie Jones, not Dr. Molly Fry.
I'm Dr. Molly Fry.
That is true. She has a lot prettier voice than I do. I'm raspy and as ever. But it's a new week. How are you?
You know what? It has been an incredible week. It's just been very intense. We've had intense weather, which was really intense.
Crazy.
Yeah, flooding everywhere. My river where I go and walk every morning is totally flooded.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just
Us
been a
as well.
crazy week. So we got the book almost ready. I've been working on the cover, and hopefully we will be able to send it in to start getting copies of the book next week.
Next week.
Yeah, that's the goal.
Ooh,
I don't know,
yeah.
it just seems to be going kind of slowly, like inching along, but that's just, training to be patient and to endure, and that's what I'm going to do. And
How's the nerves?
it's really weird just to share is everyone keeps going, oh, well, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? And I'm like, you know what? This book has a life of its own. It wrote itself. It, just it came, and yes, I showed up, and yes, I edited it, and yes, it's my story, and I made it real. But the book itself was like, had to come out. It was like a volcano bubbling out of my soul.
Right.
And I actually did the entire book in less than 3 months. It has taken me the last 9 months to edit it and to, make it go right. And that's a lot more work because I'm dyslexic.
Right.
And it's really hard for me to do this. Just saying.
So dyslexia never gets better?
Well,
Does
okay,
it get easier
mature.
over time?
What I believe dyslexia is, and again, this is just my version, right? Subjectively, is that my brain processes two-dimensional black and white symbols differently. In other words, two-dimensional stuff on paper just doesn't process into my brain well. And so when I was 6 and 7 and they wanted me to learn to read, the fact that I couldn't just pick it up like all the kids in the class became such an emotional issue that added to the failure syndrome and everything else. And they, of course, didn't have a name for it. They couldn't test me for it. They just said I was lazy or retarded. So anyway, what it is my brain is confused. I don't track from right to left, so I don't read like they expect you to. I sort of get global kind of speed reading. Have you ever heard of speed reading?
I have.
Right. Okay. That's what my brain naturally does. It just sort of looks at the page and goes, "Okay, you got the information. Move on." But that's not really good when the teacher says read out loud.
Right.
Okay. Right. And then you're embarrassed, and then you start to stutter, and then you start to cry, and then you start to write, and it was all bad.
Right.
And so what happened was, by the time I was 18, I read at grade level, which was 13th grade when I went into LACC. We were just talking about that. And so I was capable, but I hated reading because it was so much work and it had so much emotions connected to it. And so what I learned to do was I can extract information from a book. So I don't read books, I extract information.
Right.
And so I went my whole life just extracting information. Now I learned through my ears, really good. Right. Okay, so that's where I'm gifted.
That's where you get it.
Yeah, that's where I get it, and I do it I learn in my body. So like if
muscle memory.
Muscle memory.
Right.
So if you say to me, Molly, do this math problem. If I look at it, I have no idea. If I put a pencil in my hand or a chalk, I just start writing,
it'll come out.
Yeah, the answer just unfolds. Yeah, and so, and it's interesting to be very kind of handicapped. It's almost like, I've got a crutch. So, on the side that I'm supposed to read stuff, I'm sort of limping along. But then on this other side, I'm, a gymnast.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So, yeah, and I kind of see it with my two boys. I have 4 and 5-year-old sons, and they're both really different.
Right.
One's mathematical and analytical, and one's creative and
and
I
so
see
beautiful.
That already, like natural to them. It's
and
not
you want
nothing.
To feed to
exactly,
their gifts, not try to make them go away.
Exactly. It's almost what I thought my parents didn't know. I was fully creative.
Right, exactly.
My brother was analytical. So I grew up in a 2-boy household, same way I have in my home now, and we've been.
So
they're
maybe
the same.
You can do it differently.
Exactly, and that's why I'm so intrigued by the challenge.
Yeah,
because
that's
I
awesome.
love it. Like, I think I know how to nurture a creative.
Yeah, exactly.
And bring out, whereas I wasn't the best student because they didn't know how to nurture
right, exactly.
what I was into.
Absolutely.
But I think I know how to motivate.
Yeah,
so,
and so that's awesome.
that is cool.
That's why parenting is so wonderful, is because you get an opportunity to undo anything that happened in your childhood that wasn't acceptable,
right.
or to copy things that happened in your childhood that were wonderful.
That were awesome, right?
Right, and awesome. And, you know, everybody tries to be an improvement on the previous generation, and sometimes we do it, sometimes we don't.
Exactly.
Sometimes it's a teeter-totter. Right. Like if you had a really dysfunctional home and you had very, very severe and strict parents, you might be very, very easygoing and not have any rules, right? But the best way is to try to hit somewhere in the middle with kids, because they really need all elements of life.
And exactly. My dad was a strong, some people would say angry type.
Authoritative?
Yes. Loved hard, just intense. So first instinct, he loved hard, but he got mad easy as well.
Yeah.
My mom's opposite, just always smiling and loving and super everything. So I kind of had both of them.
Both, and so you'll be able to
it was
be
awesome.
both.
And yeah, growing up,
yeah.
I just don't think they fully knew how to nurture someone that doesn't do well with class and homework every day. Well, when they tell me I need an A to pass to pass this class, I get them an A easy, standing on my head. My teacher said it all the time. But he just doesn't do homework. He's not.
Right. He's not participating in
this
our
part of it.
form.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like, so Jamie's really, really smart boy. He just doesn't do anything.
Right. And you know, the thing is that we have a system of education that teaches to the bell curve. So the people in the middle. So if you're too smart or you're too stupid, you're on the edges and they don't care, right? And so that's often people like you and I who are gifted and bright, but not in a conventional way, are so bored in school.
Yes.
Because school is really not teaching to our skills and our interest, and so we don't see why they're wasting our time. I mean, it's it's unfortunate, but
it's like they should have a stand-up comedy class.
Exactly.
That's where I was like, I would have gotten an A.
Yeah, or AV. When I got into junior high, I went to Malibu Park Junior High School, and I took drama, and we had a whole AV department because the video cameras were just new.
Damn right.
And the VHS,
Malibu, so they got all the cool stuff.
And we had all the cool stuff in Malibu. Exactly. And that made school fun and interesting. But that was only 2 hours a day.
Right. So we have the book.
Yes.
Coming next week.
On track. Okay. So
we have
the
book. So, is there like a plan in place to what we're doing? What we're is that what we're formulating now? So we're gonna get this book out, and then we're gonna do a launch. A launch.
Because marijuana in the United States, medicinal marijuana is 21 years old this year, and so the movement is 21 years old, and it's been legal in California for 21 years, and so we're gonna have a birthday party. For marijuana.
That is exactly.
Coming of age.
Coming of age.
And my book just sort of coincides with that, so I'm going to jump on that. And what I'm doing is, this book has a life of its own. It has been written in a very unconventional way. As I told you, I dictated it into my phone. If the phone had not had the capacity to do voice recognition, I would never have been able to write the book on my own. Now, I could have done it with a personal assistant, but because of my handicap, I just could not have made it happen. And yet, all the technology and everything in the universe conspired that when I got out of prison, I suddenly had access to this technology that would allow me to overcome my disability. And I was motivated in a way that I just couldn't even comprehend. I mean, every day I would just fly out of the house to go to the river, and I would climb in a tree, and I would sit there on the river and, watch the birds and dictate the book, and then climb out of the tree and come back to the house, and I'd emailed it to myself, so then I had my laptop, and I'd put it into Word and start going over how to edit it. And the actual writing of the book, the dictating of the book, the story took less than 3 months, but the process of converting it to proper English from speech to a written format that people would enjoy reading took much longer, and I needed a lot of encouragement. Steve encouraged me for the first run through when we would meet and work together and read it out loud, because I only worked through my ears, and so doing it in my eyes was just really a waste of time.
Right.
And anyway, but it's taken a while, and I finally had to buy an Apple laptop and have them. I went to the thing and have them loaded into the computer, and then because Apple's the only one who can read. Evidently, Microsoft can't read you.
Right.
And so then I put it on a speed and a half. Back to, are you from New York? Yes, I listen from New York and I speak from New York fast.
Right.
And so I did it at 1.5 times, and I listened to the entire book, 17 chapters in less than 8 hours, and was able to rearrange paragraphs and chapters and edit it
arrange it,
right, because I could hear the flow. And so that's how the book finally came together. That was last 2 weeks ago that I listened to the whole thing. I got the final draft. We sent it up to the cyber editor, and she sent it back. Steve has it now. We did the sorry, are you okay?
I got something.
Water?
Yeah, no worries.
Well, anyway, but he did the photo shoot for the cover, and now we're in the process of whatever is required to do the layout for the cover. And then we should be publishing it. I'm hoping tomorrow we're going to be submitting it. That would be my goal.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I don't know if we're going to be ready tomorrow, but I'm definitely on a roll. I want to see this happen.
Nice. Well, we got to get you to New York Times bestseller list, right?
Well, that's the idea, but I just really think it's okay, I'm totally going to participate. So we're going to get books. I'm going to have a book signing at the club where I work just to get it out there. I'm going to mail out about 50 copies to prominent people in the news media and in the government who, I feel like the right seed planted in the right place. Right. Maybe it's an assistant or somebody who picks up the book. But I know that the way this is unfolding, and again, because I have lived through my life unfolding without my participation, just my showing up, not my doing it, I'm at the top of a water slide or a roller coaster or whatever you want to see, and I'm about to whoosh into a destiny. Don't know what it is,
right? But
I know it's coming.
That's
and
awesome.
Yeah, and so the book is going to be the kickoff, and I don't know what it's going to lead to or where we're going to go from there, but we are going somewhere, Jamie.
You're goddamn right.
And we're
I love
doing
it
together.
So I wanted to interject, and I haven't really spoke before, but I got an interesting phone call about the radio program just as I went outside, and it was Mitch from AAMC, who is a friend of the movement. Mitch is very lovely and a wonderful guy. He said, what is Molly going to do in 2017 to be an ambassador for the movement? What kind of things is she going to do?
I'm on it.
And so I said, that's a great question. I'm going to ask her right on the program.
All right. Well, let me say that I feel that is my sole purpose right now. Is I am an ambassador for the patients, and I am also an ambassador for the truth. And the truth is that this is a plant that has evolved on this planet for really hundreds of thousands of years with the animals. And the way we know that is because the endocannabinoid system, which is the cannabis processing system that we use, is present not just in mammals, but also in birds and fish. And so because of that diversity across kingdoms, we know that the plant has been a part of the evolution of animals for a very long time. Okay, so I know in my heart that my last remaining mission in life is to free God's medicine so that all people have access to the safe and non-toxic plant. And that is my mission. And the book is, I'm hoping, my stepping stone into a national discussion about why this fraud has been perpetrated against the American people to prevent them from having this healthful and restorative plant. And how do we get it recategorized and useful so that hemp can save our economy and marijuana can save our healthcare system. And economy. Yeah, exactly. And so I'm going to be an ambassador to change, and the change is free marijuana for all people in the United States and in the world.
I love it.
All right.
I love it. Where does this book rank up as far as like personal accomplishments. It seems like I'd be pretty proud if I wrote a book. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Jamie,
that's like something
you're
like
so sweet.
that is cool though, right? Like, damn, I wrote a book. Like,
here's how I totally feel about this. Is the book has been, in my brain, because I always thought people like to talk to me and they like to, hear me speak and stuff. And so I thought, okay, these stories are good. Every time I tell these stories at parties or whatever, people are like, oh, wow, yeah, exactly. So I knew that this experience, the way I experience life is different than most people, okay? And so I knew I had a book in me, but, then I went to prison.
Right.
And that was just ugly. Just saying. I mean, prison is so ugly because, they take away all self-respect, all dignity. They treat you subhuman, and they define you by not who you are or your worth. They define you by your obedience and submission to them. Right. And the other inmates also do. And there's so much derogatory pressure to not exist, to vanish into the walls, to be reabsorbed into the prison so that you don't cause any waves.
And if you believe that energy is spread out a person, then you gotta believe that it's gotta be pretty surprising or not surprising at how much negative energy is floating around a prison.
Well, here, I gotta tell you, Sweetie Pea, this is the funniest thing. So I get to the prison in Dublin, and I am higher than a kite. I mean, I'm not on a personal high. I stepped onto that prison, and for the first time in so many years, I knew we had begun the end.
Right.
We had begun the end. I had been sitting at home since 2008 when we were convicted and sentenced to 5 years in prison, waiting for the appeal process. And so from 2008 until I submitted in 2011, I was in prison. That was the worst prison, because although I was home, I had no job. I couldn't see my patients. I couldn't work. I wasn't productive.
Right.
We were just waiting for this horrible thing to come down on us. No one was positive. It was just horrible, ugly, oppressive, awful experience. I don't ever want to go there. So I get to prison, and I realize this is only 60 months. Okay, and then it's over. We got this. We got this. We can do anything for a period of time and know that it's over.
Right.
And this is going to be the end. And so I am happy. And people are like, you're a liar. You're deceiving us. You're not feeling your feelings. Nobody is happy with a 5-year prison sentence.
Right.
But I was. And I knew.
I'm a day closer to
That's right. I'm a day closer to home. Okay, so it was sort of interesting. And so when I got to prison, I was so filled with that relief. And our home had become so dysfunctional because of the oppression that the federal assault on our family and our children and my husband, and the fear and of course losing our livelihood and losing our money and losing our ability to support our family. I mean, it just was so oppressive that it was a relief to be in prison.
Fuck, this had to be rough on the kids, huh?
Oh my God, my kids are still struggling. They're still struggling. My youngest was 8 when we were raided at gunpoint by the feds. He was 14 when he was 12 when we were arrested, and he was 14 when we were tried, and he was 16 when we were sentenced to 5 years in prison, and then 2.5 years later he turned 18 and we went to prison. So his entire life has been marked
dealing with
by
that.
this.
Damn.
It's
From
been
8
a
to
struggle.
Yeah.
It's so. But anyway, so what I was going to say is, I just wanted to finish the idea. The idea is, when you get out of prison, you are degraded, you are humiliated, you don't feel any value or worth, and you want so desperately to be normal, and yet you feel like you're wearing this big sign that says, I'm a prisoner, I'm a federal convict, I am bad, right? And you just feel oppressed. And so for me, what's going on with the book and what's going on with my life is, I didn't write that book. God wrote that book, and he channeled it through me because I'm a willing participant, because I want to free God's medicine, and I know my story is one that can be used for people to see hope and for people to want to change their life and overcome difficulties and to recognize that we're all going to go through suffering and we're all going to be challenged. And it's not what the suffering you're presented with, it's what you do with that suffering. It's the decisions you make. And so that's what I'm doing with the book.
It's not how many times you get knocked down.
It's whether you keep getting up.
Can you get up?
That's right.
I love it. Well,
yeah, we're getting close, guys.
we are very close, and we
Okay.
just wanted to get
Thank
out
you.
something.
Yeah.
Today, just a word of goodness for you people out there. We didn't want to leave your week without having a word from us, so we're sorry about not having not
full
being
hour.
on Monday, or on Tuesday, like normally, but. How do you say sorry, not sorry? Nah, I am genuinely. We just get busy, man. My life is picking up really fast right now, and it's speeding up to a level that needs management, needs maintenance, regular maintenance. So I'm coming to terms with that as we speak. And
Well, anyone listening in the Sacramento area, remember on the 21st, we're collecting coats here at the Mercedes Building.
That is.
And it's a pet project of mine to try to clothe and feed the homeless. So anyone who can help us, please.
Please come out. Interesting Media annual winter warm up, January 21st here at Can Accelerates Interesting Media Studios, 1860 Howe Avenue, Suite 350, 10 a.m. Bring any warm blankets, sweaters, any warm clothes you may have. Please wash first, and bring them up. Shoes that may be able to help someone else stay warm this winter. We always appreciate it. So we'll sort clothes for 2 hours, and then we'll go out and together and fellowship downtown and pass those out to anybody that may be cold or needs an outfit, needs some warm clothes. So
And there's plenty of people in Sacramento who are cold. So let's all do what we can.
let's do what we can. Thank you for even bringing that up.
And
And if you need to drop something off, you can drop it off at the studio between
Anytime.
between 9 and 5 p.m. Monday through Friday here at Interesting Media Can Accelerate. If you can't make the event,
there's one more shameless plug I'd like to throw in. For all the people that are really listening, if you want to continue this fun with Molly, all you need to really do is go to www.medicalmaryjane.com, and you can download a couple of her book chapters in her book. And also, you'll be able to become part of the community, the medical patients community.
Right.
And Molly, being one of the original people, is going to give ideas and some other things on that community blog. So if you have some real questions and we really don't have a call-in procedure as of yet, you can address those questions and concerns on that blog, and Molly will overview that and give some answers and some other insights. There will also be some other surprises on www.medicalmaryjane.com.
also check out my awesome work at www.medicalmaryjane.com.
Yeah.
So that's what we do here at Interesting Media: websites, logos, commercials, movies, you name it.
All that stuff. It's
we're
good
all
stuff.
intertwined over here. So thank you. Follow Dr. Molly Fry on